All right, so this is one of the few lessons that has a 2-page worksheet. So on the second page of the tool, you've got items C and D, and that's the next two I'm going to talk about. Aligning your focus, right? If we click right there, you can see that. If we're going to align your focus, how can you align the focus of your social content with your likability factors? Now, I want to introduce a concept to you that I read in a book. This is a book, I just really like this book for the themes that it has, and it's called The Like Switch. It's an ex-FBI agent's guide to influencing, attracting, and winning people over. And it's just a fantastic book. It's got a lot of things that it covers, but one of the things it talks about is the math of like. And basically it says, in a relationship, there's intensity, there's proximity, there's frequency, and duration. And these are like the 4 variables. And so when you think about the content that you have, the question is, does that content accomplish what you want on these 4 levels? So you've got proximity, which is, I think of that as your relationship. So do we know each other very well? Is that a strong relationship, or have we just barely got to know each other? Frequency, so how often are we bumping into each other? So if you're sharing content with your people, how often do they see stuff from you? Once a year? You know, you get a postcard in the mail. Are they getting status updates on a regular basis in their social media from you? And then of those contacts or those moments where you're engaging them, what's the duration of it? You know, are you sharing stuff that it takes them, 20 minutes to read, or 20 minutes to watch, or 5 minutes, or 30 seconds? Like, what's the duration of it? And then the last one is your intensity. And this is where I've added in your calls to engage, your calls to action. What are you asking of them? And so when you think about these things, you've got these 4 different factors. And what happens is the greater the number is for each of those, it's like they all add up. And that, if you add all these things together, it's your math equation to create likability. So if you have a lot of proximity with someone, you spend a lot, and that happens frequently, and the duration is longer and it's more intense, then that's going to create more of a relationship, right? So you're either going to love each other more or you're going to hate each other more, right? But it creates this thing about our family, right? With our family, I see I have very close proximity to my wife. I see her all the time, okay? And that's a lot, we have a 3-year-old and we've got kids, and so there's a lot of duration and we're handing things off and it gets pretty intense. So it's a very real thing. Well, when you think about your connection with your prospects and your clients, when we're trying to create clients that love us, clients that will always talk about us when the topic of insurance comes up, then somehow we've got to win this likability game. And so what happens here is we want to be conscious of and try to come up with ways. I'm still working on some ways to really try to, turn this into a statistical tracking system. In the past, right, a lot of times when we're trying to manage our success of social media, we could track how many posts did we share, how many people liked it, how many people made a comment, how many people reshared it. And I don't think those are horrible things, but they don't often really measure on this deeper level, right? I could see something and not, like if you reached out to connect with me on LinkedIn, I'm pretty open, I'll connect with you. But that doesn't mean that you won me over, and you might be saying, oh, hey, I got another connection. So what we want to think about is some of these things here is think about your favorite clients, think about your prospects, and can you build these things over time? Can you be respectful as well? So if you've got a brand new prospect, right, you've just connected with them on LinkedIn, you're just starting that engagement, then you're probably not ready yet. It's kind of like on a first date, being able to go right to the ring and say, hey, let's get married, right? You're not ready for something super intense. You're going to keep it pretty lightweight. And so when you think about these things, and I'm giving you a lot of room for this, all this activity is more of a conscious consideration that when you're sharing content, when you post content, and we'll come back to this one on Friday or on the 5th day, we're going to come back to this a little bit, and making sure that when you're executing your posts, before you hit publish, you think a little bit about this stuff. But I mostly just want to get your brain starting to think about this one, so that when you think, okay, how do I engage people? How do I measure the success of our relationship? Let's start thinking about these measuring variables. If I want to engage someone 2 or 3 times a week, what's the duration and how intense should it be? Now, if you never ask anything of anyone, if there is no intensity, there's no calls to action, then you're probably not going to develop the relationship, right? Just like we talked about on the first week, when you are creating your LinkedIn profile and you're optimizing it in that About Us section, are you creating a call to engage or a call to action? Because if you're not, then you can't be disappointed when they don't. But we have to kind of be a little daring, and we need to invite people to take that next step in the relationship. So be bold, but be considerate. All right, that's it for this one. Got one more for you, and I think you're gonna like it. It's a good one. It's gonna kind of wrap all this stuff together so you have an actual execution plan for posting. It's really create your calendar for posting your content on a monthly basis. So make sure you watch the next video.